What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Back with my original segment, Boxingego's First Look, a tale of the tape, a sneak peek, a preview of the fight before the fight. Now we got some heavyweight action. Bravo, this is what I'm talking about. Now, these two don't necessarily have the biggest names, but they certainly pose a threat to the top names, the Deontay Wilders, Luis King Kong Ortiz, and Anthony Joshua's in the division. And in case you guys live under a rock or haven't been keeping up, I'm going to give you guys the backstory. Now, this fight, Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Joseph Parker, is for the WBO title. As you guys should know, Tyson Fury was the WBO champion. He beat Klitschko in November of 2015, and that fight was supposed to happen, and then it got postponed. Tyson Fury was injured. There was rumors of issues in his camp. He denied them vehemently, and the fight was rescheduled to later in the month or later in the year, October, November. And then that fight was eventually canceled because Tyson Fury tested positive not once but twice, having cocaine in his system. Now the titles are available because Tyson Fury vacated his titles because he would have otherwise gotten stripped for failing a drug test, and now he's probably going through the rehabilitation process. He did walk Billy Joe Saunders out to his last fight. That's his cousin, and he's kind of trying to just get back right and get back in the right mindset and get back clean. So now the WBO title is up for grabs. Joseph Parker is the #1 mandatory for Anthony Joshua's IBF belt, and if he wins this fight, he'll be the WBO champion, and it makes a fight with Anthony Joshua better all around, especially for him. He'll get a higher purse if he's a champion going into a unification than just being the mandatory going up against Anthony Joshua. And then more importantly for him, he's fighting an undefeated game guy with power in Andy Ruiz Jr. So certainly a confidence booster if he can defeat a guy like Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz is signed with Top Rank. He's currently training with, Gennady Golovkin's trainer, Abel Sanchez. So he trained out in California, Big Bear, and I don't know, he just felt like the need to change. Now, Ruiz Jr. is one of those people where you can't really go off of his body type. He never seems to be in phenomenal shape. He looks flabby and sick a little bit, but the guy has power and he doesn't move the way he looks. So it can be very deceptive. So I'm looking forward to this as a really good fight because, like I said, Andy Ruiz, if you just go off of the eye test, he doesn't look like much. You're not thinking of this prime heavyweight. But Ruiz said in a recent interview that even though he's the shorter man and Joseph Parker has a longer reach, which I'll talk to when I get to the tale of the tape section of this video, he says that's his comfort zone. That's what he likes. Through sparring and everything, he says he's typically the shorter man of all the heavyweights with the shorter reach, and he likes to get in and get out and throw his combinations and do his work. So he says that doesn't pose any problem. The other thing he did say, Andy Ruiz said, going over, since this fight is taking place in Joseph Parker's backyard, Joseph Parker being from New Zealand, and this is taking place in Auckland, it looks like he believes that he's two points down on the scorecards, meaning the judges and the referee and everybody will be against him because he's the traveling fighter, and the hometown fighter is going to get the oohs and ahs in the crowd. So he says he's not worried about it and he's prepared, and I think this is going to be ultimately a good fight. Both guys clearly have power, and both guys haven't really had the type of fight that this should be. Andy Ruiz, he made Tor Hamer quit. That was an embarrassing performance for Hamer, but he hasn't really had many huge fights since then, right? Joseph Parker, he's been doing pretty good. He took on Carlos Takam and he looked good in that fight, but he hasn't had, I guess, a prime name, one of the big names in the division, the Wilders and Joshua. So this is go time, and we'll see what Joseph Parker is made of, how good he is. He's getting a lot of praise. A lot of people think he could pose challenges to Anthony Joshua. This fight will be the defining moment where he can show that. When I was in Vegas for Ward Kovalev fight, I met a guy, a heavyweight, who actually spars with Joseph Parker, and he says the guy can hit. He says Parker's power is for real, and when he hits you, you just feel it all over, and his thudding power. And that was his words, and he showed me pictures and stuff. So that's his sparring partner's testimony. And now let's take a look at the tale of the tape. Both fighters are undefeated. Joseph Parker has an undefeated record of 21-0, Andy Ruiz Jr. has a record of 29-0. The age advantage goes to Joseph Parker. He's the younger fighter at age 24 years old, and Andy Ruiz is 27, so pretty close. Height, Joseph Parker is listed at 6 foot 4 inches tall. Ruiz Jr. being the shorter man, he is 6 foot 2 inches. The fight is taking place at heavyweight, so there's no real weight limit that they have to meet. And the reach advantage also goes to Joseph Parker, the taller man, and he has a reach of 76 inches to Andy Ruiz Jr.'s 74 inches. So power versus power, two guys who are looking to prove their skill set on the highest level with probably the biggest name for both of them career-wise, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a hometown fight. Sometimes that could be good and sometimes it could be bad. Sometimes it puts a different level of pressure on you, and like if you get hurt, you're in front of your hometown crowd, so sometimes people make mistakes, but some people use the crowd and the energy from the crowd, and it rallies them and pushes them in those championship rounds when they're starting to fatigue. So it's a double-edged sword. It just depends on the particular fighter. Fighting at home could be good, it could be bad, but I'm looking forward to this fight. I'm glad Tyson Fury vacated instead of like stalling out, and we're getting these fresh matches. December 10th is stacked. You have Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He's fighting in Mexico against Dominic Britch. You have Anthony Joshua. He's fighting another heavyweight fight. He's fighting in the UK against Eric Molina, a guy who's faced and sparred with Deontay Wilder. You have on that same card Derek Chisora versus Dillian White, another heavyweight fight. Some beef and tension between the two. You have Terrence Crawford, who's fighting in Omaha against a puncher, John Molina Jr., coming off the Ruslan Provodnikov win. And in LA, you have Jesus Cuellar, who's defending his WBA title against a veteran in Abner Mares. On that same card, you have another title fight with Julian J. Rock Williams finally getting his shot at a name and a champion in Jermall Charlo. So December 10th is lit. A ton of action. There's so many fights on that particular night, and that's definitely a slept on and a good night we all need to be talking about if we're boxing fans, because December 10th is lit. Let me know what you guys think. Joseph Parker in front of his hometown crowd against Andy Ruiz Jr., another heavy-handed fighter who's a lot slicker than he looks. And let me know who wins this fight. How does it play out? Will it be Joseph Parker or will it be Andy Ruiz Jr.? Do you see a knockout decision? Drop that in the comment section. Let me know who you favor. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.